Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Weighing Room podcast, where as ever, Paul Callaghan and Frankie Foster join myself to go through the 11 live races on ITV Racing on Saturday. Gents, how are we? We had a good week. Frankie, I've seen you at Newmarket yesterday. How was that?
Yeah, really good. I love that July course. It's definitely my favourite out of the two Newmarket courses. I think it's just a real nice atmosphere. I think that the other course you kind of just got parading, big stadium, and then the mile. But at the July course, you can kind of wander around. The pre-parade's nice. There's a few little different bits going on, and it was busy for Thursday. So yeah, good fun, and I'll be back Saturday. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looked really busy, and obviously the weather helped. We're really nice and sunny. It's supposed to be the same for the next 2 days. We're recording on a Friday, normally on a Thursday, on a Friday, so we have a bit better on the decks and who's running, what the ground is. Paul, how are you this week? All right?
Yeah, flying, not a bother. All's good now. Looking forward to the weekend of racing. The weather's holding up here in Dundalk. It's been glorious the last couple of days, and a bit of racing here to look forward to on Tuesday. So I think the weather's going to continue to hold up for that. So all's good. Looking forward to the weekend, though.
Well, today we're going to go through all of the key races. Obviously, Newmarket's third day of the July meeting, Ascot with their summer mile card, and also York have a cracking card on with its John Smith's Day, race day with Group 3 and listed events on the card. Gents, we'll get straight into it. The first race we're going to cover is the 13:45 John Smith's Racing Handicap over a mile from York. Frankie, we'll give you the honour this week to start. Who takes your fancy in the opener?
Starting with the favourite, Isla Kai. I know that Nigel Tinkler was disappointed, to say the least, last time this horse went out. They're expecting a big run from it. And you can see by the drop back in trip, just by that extra, or that 1 furlong less, might be to suit. I know they've fancied it the last 2 times it ran. It hasn't quite got there, and it's been beaten in that final furlong. So I'm hoping that off of the same mark, 1 less furlong, can maybe get his nose in front for the Tinkler team.
Yeah, Isla Kai, he's run some great races in the past and has definitely got the form to go close in this one. Paul, yourself in this?
I'll take a chance on Blue For You for David O'Mara and Danny Tudhope. Blue For You was last seen finishing third. He was only beaten a neck and a head by the winner in a similar event at Sandown last time out. And I think a reproduction of that run, he has to see him in the mix here. And I think if he does reproduce that run last time out, he could well be the one to beat.
Well, let's hope one of us has a winner, because Frankie's gone for the fab, you've gone for the second fab, I'm going for the third fab. In
Play the TriCast.
Yeah, the TriCast, yeah, in Eileen Dubber, seen on a consistent basis this year, making his seasonal debut in January at Wolves in a Class 4 handicap and finishing a good second that day. And like I said, he's been performing really consistently after that as well, won 3 decent events. His best run seemingly coming of late, when landing back-to-back wins at Hamilton and York, went up to 8.5 furlongs and a mile, respectively. 2 starts ago for mark of 84, went on to score over course and distance, which is quite nice at York. The nose mile's quite tricky for some horses. Obviously, he takes to it well. But last time out was strangely put back down to 6 furlongs at Pontefract, ran no race at all. And I just think back up to the mile today, around the 11-2 mark. Clifford Lee on board for Colberg, who's having a fantastic season. I'm happy to play this 4-year-old colt definitely in the opener around 11-2. So we'll jump over to Newmarket for the next race. The 2:05 Bedford Lodge Hotel Handicap over 7 furlongs. Paul, quite a hot favourite in this one with Kidwar for Handamam up to my Shadwell Estate now, William Haggis. Are you with him or against him? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm with her. I think it's hard to oppose the favourite, Kidwar. The Haggis runners generally do improve with each run. He does leave a little bit to work on from what they've done at home. Kidwall was very good when scoring on debut at Doncaster over 6 furlongs, having missed the break. Won at Red Carron Racecourse debut. The second and third have come out and been beaten since, but the fourth did come out and win earlier in July, at the beginning of July at Ayr. I do think Kidwall, there's obviously more to come. It's only her career start, number 3. Short enough at a working man's price. If one wanted to take on the favourite, Golden Spice might be a possible alternative. Golden Spice found life tough in the Sandringham last time out, but won on both starts prior to that. So if you're looking to take on the favourite, I'd be looking with Golden Spice. But if I'm investing, it'll be on Kidwall. I think she's the one to have to beat.
Yeah, I'm joining you in this one, Paul. Kidwall for me. And look, I don't want to talk naps this early, but this horse could be one of my best bets of the day. And for the reason you've said, and just the way she went on to win last time, stepping up to 7 furlongs, I think her handicap mark of 88 I think she's beyond this. I think she could be a listed group horse personally. Like you said, these Haggis horses are just improving on normal seasons. And this season, he's taking it to a new level. The stable, absolutely flying. I think Kidwar's a bit of a good thing in this one. And I hope she goes and does the business. Frankie, are you going to make it 3 out of 3, or are you looking to oppose us?
No, I'm going to try and take you on, or at least try and play for each way money.
Yeah.
Both of you may well be right. Kidwell will obviously have a lot of improvement in there still to come, and we'll find out on the day, and especially in a handicap, could be well beyond that mark. But as Paul said, maybe short enough for a bet for some. I'm looking at Miss Carol Ann, who the last 3 reads 6th, 7th, or 776 if you read it the other way around. But that is in listed company, Group 3 company, and listed company, and there's some decent horses in there that have won those races. So I don't think it's the worst form in the world. And an each way price, maybe one that will perform at this level and should hopefully be in the top 3.
Yeah, if I was taking on the favourite, Miss Caroline was the one I was looking at as well. I think coming back, making a handicap debut, she's interesting. As like we said last week, he's firing in the winners now. It seems to be June, July has been his month so far. And yeah, would be my alternative as well. But for me, yeah, Paul Kidwar hopefully goes on and wins. So back over to York, one of their feature events of the afternoon is the Group 3 John Smith Silver Cup. And Paul, 3 runners go to post. It looks a bit of a tactical affair to me.
Yeah, you'd think that, but with Thunderous in there, you'd imagine Franny Norton will just drop the hands and let Thunderous bowl along. So if he does do that, assuming he does that, that'll ensure the pace will be pretty honest. I'm going to side with the outsider of the 3, John Leaper, who has a little under 2 lengths to find without a fight when the pair clashed last time out. John Leaper wears the hood, obviously has his quirks, but he's a hold-up performer. Assuming that Thunderous will go forward, the small field will suit John Leaper, and I'm going to take a chance at the prices that he can reverse that form without a fight. So it's John Leaper for me.
Yeah, it's always tricky in these 3-run events. You can make a case for all 3. It's just which one on the day. And looking at the outsider at 10 to 3, it's worth a go in a 3-runner race. Frankie, who you want in this one?
It's really tricky, isn't it? Because there's, intertwining form between the 3 of them. I think John Leaper's been beat by both, but I was nearly in the same camp as Paul. You watched that run when second at, was it York? At York. God, it was delivered so late, so late. I think Ryan Moore rode that day and, finished the race really, really strongly. I've gone round in circles on this, but I've settled with Thunderous. Obviously beat John Leaper over 2 miles, and then before that, second to Strad at York, and that was a good Stradivarius. And he backed that up with his run, obviously at Ascot Unlucky, but I think you've got to take that Stradivarius form against a field which nothing screams out as you to be kind of top class in this division. So, yeah, I'm running off the back of Strad really here with Thunderous.
Yeah, look, this is a very tentative vote for me as well, but Thunderous was the one I landed on after going through. And I'll tell you what, you can look at 10-runner, 15-runner, 20-runner. I think I've spent the most time on this 3-runner race trying to find, trying to find this angle. But Thunderous for me, what I've gone into and the angle I'm going to take is York form. He's a Dancy winner. Obviously handles the track well. And then he's run against Stradivarius in, was it the Yorkshire Cup? Yeah, Group 2 Yorkshire Cup. Look, he's coming back at Stradivarius. Stradivarius has gone on to run really well in the Gold Cup, and maybe for a better ride might have got a bit closer to the winner. That's one of the bases I'm going off. Look, his runs this season when going up in trip, Thunderous, haven't been bad at all. Impressive behind Hamish at Chester in the Ormond Stakes. Obviously, second to Stradivarius. 4th last time out, yeah, but be forgiven going up to 2 miles. Drop back slightly in trip, I think it's a positive. And like you said, Paul, he could just go and bound out and say, come and catch me. And maybe they might not be able to catch him. And that was just my vote. A bit of York form, Thunderous around 15 to 8 mark, second favourite at the moment. So Newmarket's Bet365 Mile is the next race we're going to cover, the 240 on ITV. And Frankie, this looks a competitive race, doesn't it?
Yeah, really tricky. And I'm just taking a swing, really. I just can't see how Positive Impact is rated £8 lower than the Fab when they were within a neck of each other. And you might be taking the same angle, James. I think you're in the positive impact camp as well. But ran a really good race in second, a really, really good race. And then obviously was 1-66 on last time out. Can't really take much from that race. But Spencer's booked. I think that's a very positive booking. And as I said, the weight that this horse has got in hand with the Fab, I think at 14s, it's definitely worth a shot.
Yeah, exactly the same angle I took into the race, and I really can't believe the price at the moment. Looking at the prices, look, Bay of Honour might turn out to be a better horse. Appleby, Buick's in the saddle, obviously a great combination. But I just saw the prices, positive impact. Look, his last race was a nothing race, won a 2-runner race by 20 odd lengths, beating a horse that was nowhere near its level. You can't really take a lot for that. But going back to that race, where was it? Two or three starts ago at Thirsk. To be beaten by a short head and to see the difference in what they are in the handicap marks, I couldn't understand it personally. And just on that basis, I was happy to take the bigger price and positive impact than I was on Bay of Honour. And I think that's the form line to read into this race. And that's why I went with positive impact. So very similar to yourself, Frankie. Paul, for yourself?
I've gone with Jimi Hendrix for Ralph Beckett and Rob Hornby. I thought Jimi Hendrix ran a cracker to finish third in the Britannia at Royal Ascot, despite over-racing in the early stages on his last start. Prior to that, he was a good winner at Haydock towards the end of May. And I think if none the worse for that run at Royal Ascot, and if settling better, I think he has to be in the mix here. There's only 8 runners, so that'll help Rob Hornby just get an anchor and get him settled in the early stages, which will give him every chance at finishing off this mile contest. So it's Jimi Hendrix for me.
Yeah, Ray Beckett in a nice bit of form. We're in about 21% at the moment. Yeah. And Rob Hornby as well landed, I think it was 125 to win one winner at Foss last in the week, was it? So
yeah, we'll settle for the 7s or so here.
Yeah, I think Rob Hornby, obviously ever since Westover being chucked off that and Colin King going to win on it, he's reacted really well and he's come out and landed some winners over the past week or so. And I think he's shown a great attitude. Look, he's still very young. And I think he'll go on to have a great career and definitely on board Jimi Hendrix got a chance here in this one. So next up, we have the first race of the afternoon on ITV from Ascot. And it sees another tricky race to unravel, the 5 furlong Bedford Heritage Handicap. Paul, we'll start with you. Who's your selection in this one? It looks a tough one, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's, what have we, 20 runners going to post in this one. I'm going to take a chance on Mountain Peak, drawn a stall 15. Mountain Peak has finished second in 2 of his last 3 starts. He was second in the Epsom Dash when last seen, and I think he's a bit of an each-way price, and I think he'll give each-way supporters a good run for the money. So Mountain Peak for me.
Yeah, currently around the 11-1 mark as I look now with some firms. So yeah, definitely got an each-way poke and Tom Marquand in the saddle. Frankie, yourself?
Tabdeed, I mean, as 20 runners, it's very competitive, but I am going at the top. Just, I mean, you look at the last run in that listed race, Rassil's come out and won. Dragon Symbol obviously is a quirky horse. You can't really know where to place that. But Tabdeed third there, beat King of Stars as well that day. Can't really take anything from the Ascot run in the Wokingham, although it was entered and definitely you'd hope would be competitive, not being unlucky in the race. And off the back of that, back into a handicap, I think it's got every chance here. Holly Doyle rides and I know it's a favourite in a big field, but you can still get each way at around 8. So I'm looking at now. So I'd be more than happy to play that each way.
Yeah, definitely in this field. Look, it might be the Fab, but around 8-1. You're happy to play each way, and there'll be firms offering some extra places definitely for this race with 20 runners. And that's why I've took the 2-pronged attack in this race. I've gone for 2 against the field. So the first one is Equality for Charlie Hills. Been in some seriously smart form on all 3 runs this term, this gelding. Making his seasonal debut at Windsor over 5 furlongs on good to soft, and he landed a Class 4 handicap off a mark of 82 by close to 5 lengths, which was really impressive. Seen twice more since then. It was in a close-up third in a hot handicap at Doncaster, and then last time out at Epsom in the Dash on Derby Day, finished a good third behind T Spirit. £1 lower than that run today for this event. I thought that made him one to watch. And definitely got a really good chance around 11-1. A slightly bigger price, currently looking around 16-1 at in the market. The Clive Cox train Get Ahead. This filly, it's been knocking on the door all year, and I just think this could be a big chance to get ahead in front. Seen twice as a juvenile last term both times at Ascot over 5 furlongs, made a winning start and a decent maiden, and was then sent to the Royal meeting where she was 6th in the Group 2 Queen Mary Stakes. Obviously not bad form at all. Not seen again as a juvenile. She returned in March this term at Kempton, over 6 furlongs, so up a furlong. Maybe just needing the run, finishing back in 3rd, but it was just one of them runs that I think she just needed to blow away the cobwebs. She then went to Bath in a decent listed event and again finished a good 3rd, making it a hat-trick of places in another listed event at York. She was then last seen in the listed Scurry Stakes at Sandown when she was 4th, but if you actually look how far she was beaten, she wasn't beaten far at all. She's been running really well in defeat. I think she's been overlooked in the market, and off a mark of 93 on handicap debut, I thought was very, very interesting, getting back to the scene of her only win of her career. So I just thought there was a few angles there for get ahead, and around 16 to 1, if you can get, 4 or 5 places, I thought was a cracking each way bet. So one of the highlights of the afternoon from the July course at Newmarket is the Group 2 Superlative Stakes over 7 furlongs. And over the years, this race has thrown out some absolutely superb winners. Frankie, talk us through your selection in this one.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to go off in these 2-year-old races, are there? And rumours and chat play a part in my selection. Victory Dance is one of the more talked about horses around Newmarket, and was expected to win when doing so back in June. Got there real late, and I kind of like that. The fact that the horse didn't really get going till late and had to be pushed, and a few reminders, but then did finish the race strongly and only just got up. But that run gave you the impression that there's a lot more to come from the horse. When you couple that with the expectations and the chat around the horse, I would go in with the favourite here, Victory Dance.
Yeah, I'm joining you here. I think Victory Dance has got an absolutely great chance, and 13 to 8, I personally think could be quite a big price. We don't know. We've only seen this horse once, but I think if this goes to absolutely bolt up like I think it might do in a 5-runner field, don't get me wrong, Line of War, good horse. Isaac Shelby could turn out to be a nice horse, but I just think this is much better. For the reasons you've said, and there's certain things, you look at this race from an anti-post market, there was another one in there called Naval Power that's had some cracking form behind it. Everyone's been winning behind it. They've pulled that out. And obviously think this one's good enough. You look, in the last 4 years, 3 Charlie Appleby horses have won this. Quarto went on to win the Group 1 National Stakes at the Curragh. Master of the Seas, who's gone on to win Group 2, Group 3 races. Finished 2nd in the Guineas as well. And Native Trail, who's the champion 2-year-old. They obviously think a lot of this horse, and they like to target this horse with their best 2-year-old going forward for a Guineas, I think, personally. Another thing for me is, yes, Buick's got rides up and down the card. But I think one of the main reasons why he stayed in Newmarket and didn't go over to Belmont for the Oaks and the Derby on Saturday evening is because of this horse. Yes, he's got big chances. Obviously, they've got Creative Force and Naval Crown in the big one. But I think that he really wants to ride this horse for a planter next year for the Guineas. And I just think this can follow the same path as Native Trail. Look, we only have the one race to go off, and it's a lot of talk. It's a bit of a hype horse. But I think the hype's justified, and I think we'll see it on Saturday just how good this horse is. Paul, for yourself, I think you're going to be against both of us, aren't you?
Yeah, I've gone just with one that'll be a little bit more battle hardened. Has had 2 runs, but it'll be well tutored coming from the master at Kinsley House. I've gone with Line of War, who's a perfect 2 from 2. Made all his own running to score. He won by 10 lengths when scoring over the stiff 7 furlongs at Newcastle last time out. And I think if he can just get his own way in front, I think it could be difficult to peg back here. Victory Dance, there's probably a bit more improvement. I know Line of War, it's only his 3rd career start, but there's probably a bit more improvement to come from Victory Dance, given the manner he scored it on racecourse debut. But just at the prices, I would take a chance on Line of War that Kieran Fallon will try and make every post a winning one. And I don't think he'll get out without a fight.
Yeah, even though I was disappointed to see only 5 runners end up in the final decks, it's quite a smart race, really. I think we'll see, especially the top 3 in the market, come out and be quite nice horses. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. And I think that this is a race to follow going forward, as it is every season. So the big race of the afternoon on ITV from Ascot, and the final one at that from the Berkshire track, is the Group 2 Summer Mile. This season, only 7 go to posts. It's been a bit of a common theme, hasn't it? Obviously, we're talking about the superlative, just only 5 runners. This only got 7 runners. Bit disappointing in a lot of the the big race fields, isn't it, so far this year on the flat? But Paul, Shindit sitting at the top of the market around 2-1 mark. I know you've been a fan of this horse, tipping him up in various Group 1s this season. Are you sticking with him or are you against him in this one?
I'm going to go against him. I'm going to go with Team Marquand and Haggis once again. I'm going to go with my Oberon, who's won his last 2. He's won 2 of his last 3 starts. Will continue in terrific form. He's won 3 of his last 4. If you go back far enough in his form, stable in terrific form, and I think at a bit of a price, he should give you a good run for your money. So it's my Oberon for me.
Yeah, about 5-6-1 at the time of recording, and the way he battled to win last time was encouraging, wasn't it? And that's what you really want to see, chasing a hat trick as well. Frankie, for yourself?
Yeah, I've gone back and forwards on Chindit and Mutasabe, and I'm going to go with the favourite. It's almost, you know what, when there's a horse, and like I thought it was brilliant on seasonal debut. We've spoke about it enough times in various races throughout this season. It's been impressive. It's been behind Baid a couple of times. And if you jump ship now like Paul has, which I did on Perfect Power, actually, didn't I? I just worry they might prove me wrong. And I think for all that we've spoke about the horse, for all that he has performed well in top company, I'm going to stick with Chindit. And I think he's hopefully the classiest horse in the race and can get back to winning ways in a slightly lesser field, you could argue.
Yeah, I took the same opinion in the end. Look, it's a very difficult one. I can make a case for 4 or 5 in this field. But Shindit was the one I thought maybe the most reliable, just off the back of dropping down into a Group 2 from the runs in Group 1 this season. Look, Shindit's got the best back form by a mile in this field for me, from as a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and then obviously what he's done this season, the way he come out and won. And you look, he's run behind Baid when 3rd in the Lockings and Real World. Not a bad run at all. And then when he sent him to the Queen Anne, lost by slightly further, finishing back in 4th. But I still thought it was a great run. You take those 2 out in the fronts, and they're just exceptional Group 1 horses, Real World and Baid. Baid's the best miler in the world. I just thought Shindit, now not having that presence in front of him, could just go on and win this. Look, at 2-1, you can probably pick some holes in it, but I just thought he was the strongest for myself. And yeah, it'd be Shindit for me, hopefully, to get back to winning ways. So one of the trickiest events for me on ITV this weekend, lads, is the Bet365 Bunbury Cup Handicap. Another 20-runner race, Frankie, with 20 runners heading to posts. Where do you start with this one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's lots of handicaps, isn't there, across this weekend? This definitely makes for good viewing. It makes for harder betting. I'm going to go with Samburu, who won a handicap at York, and then last time out was down for a little bit, 6th at Ascot. But off the back of that run, back into a handicap here, I think was fairly unlucky, or maybe didn't perform quite as good as he could have that day. And coming back into a field like this, I think for me is a decent enough each way, but I know you can get an each way price on any. Ross Collin was the other that I liked, who finished the race strongly at Ascot as well. But at the weights was just a little bit too heavy for me. So I'm going to go with Samburu. I can't actually see on my phone now looking at it the official rating that it's got for this. I don't know if you've got it in front of you, James.
97.
97, yeah. So it retains the same mark as running at Ascot. I'd give him another spin for sure.
Yeah, I was in the same opinion with Samburu, coming around 11-2, and I'll be happy to play this horse each way with such a big field on offer. I just thought, even though finishing 6th last time in that Jersey Stakes, I thought he was an absolute cracker. I thought when landing the hat-trick before that at York, I thought he just did enough on the day and was getting going late on. I think he's a solid enough bet, and I think off a mark of 97 is a listed Group 3 horse going back into a handicap, and that's what you want to find in races like this. Another one for myself at a bigger price, if I was going to play the extra places on this race, would be the Attorney for Charlie Hills. A horse, I absolutely love this horse. I loved him last season. I've stuck by him, and I can't. It's like when I was with a NAF, when he went to 40-1, I couldn't get rid of him, and I paid dividends there, finishing 2nd. And I'm going to do the same with the Attorney, around 16-1, 18-1. Smart horse last term, winning at Lingfield off a mark of 78 over 7 furlongs. 7 furlongs, definitely his trick's been consistently run over that. Been seen 5 more times since then in Class 3, Class 2 handicap events, finishing second in all but one of them. Now it's a mark of 94. The last 2 runs at Goodwood and Newcastle have seen him back to his best. He gets his ideal fast conditions. I just think he can't be ruled out of the price. Paul, for yourself?
Well, one I'm going to have to give a mention is Accidental Agent. He was no match for Baid and Co. last time out. He finished last of the 7 runners when last seen, but he'd have the ability to be thereabouts. He can have his quirks at the starting stall, so 20 runners to go forward will not be ideal for him. He can't get himself quite worked up at the start, but could do worse than have a couple of quid each way, a small wager each way on Accidental Agents. I think, as Frankie mentioned, Roscollin is definitely worth to mention. James Doyle and David O'Mara have been teamed up pretty successfully in the last number of weeks. But the one I've come down with is the horse you just mentioned, the Attorney. Like, you go through his form, he's incredibly consistent. He's finished out of the first 3 only once in his last 8 starts, and that includes 2 second place efforts at Newmarket off a handicap mark of 92. He has to be thereabouts off a mark of 94. He's a handy weight of 8 stone 10, and you could do worse than have an each way wager on the Attorney.
Well, it's nice to hear you say that, because you know, we've been used to that. Because I just love that the Attorney, and as you say, it's just his consistent nature that really got me in a race like this. And you hopefully we can't go wrong if he runs to the same manner. So, gents, it doesn't get any easier with the next one. We're going to go back over to York, and it sees the 1 mile 2 furlong John Smith's Cup handicap event again. Paul, we'll start with you on this one. Another big fielded event. I think 20 odd runners. Who'd you like in this one?
I've gone with Certain Lad, who was second in this race in 2020 behind Sinjari off a handicap mark of 103. He takes his chance here off 107. He ran well for a long way in the Wolferton Stakes, where he eventually faded to finish 8th of the 14 finishers. There was 1 pull-up on that occasion. And he might just reward each way supporters at a bit of a price. So it's Certain Lad for me.
Yeah, currently around 20 in the market. Certain Lad. Big each way shout from Paul. Frankie, yourself?
I think top weight you've gone for there. I think I'm looking up in the ratings as well, with secondly highest weighted Intelligent. And this horse was second behind Sabuska at Ascot, who's a very good horse over the mile, and then finished second carrying 9.10, the same that he'll carry today. Again, he was 1 off top weight that day. I really don't mind siding with a horse at the top of the weights in a handicap if they've done it before. I try to stay away from one that's been hiked up in the weights and has hit top weight and you're a bit unsure of how the horse will carry it and how it will deal with it. But this horse, in a very competitive handicap at the Royal Meeting, has come second, carrying 9.10, does exactly the same again today. Yes, at the top of the weights, but he's done it before, and I think an improving horse, yes, high in the weights, but I think can handle it here.
Yeah, I think Jane Chapel-Iron, personally for me, is one of the most underrated flat trainers, especially from this season. You look, I think she only took 3 horses to Royal Ascot. I think 2 went on to win, and she had a 40-1 place with Intelligent. So to go and pick out 3 horses to take to Royal Ascot, they're going to be competitive. I think's unbelievable. And yeah, I think Intelligent, if running to the same level of ability as he's shown so far, he's got a big chance in this one. Like the other big handicaps, I've played 2 in this. The first one is the Tom Clover train, Rogue Bear. Look, this horse might be the unluckiest horse all season, and I just hope for connections that he can finally go and get his head in front, because he's got some absolutely quality form behind him from what he's done this season. Made his seasonal debut this term. He finished a superb 3rd of 22 in the Lincoln handicap off 87. Withdrew on the wrong side of the track that day and still managed to get involved in the finish, only going down by 2 lengths. Off the same mark, he went to Newbury in the 17-runner Spring Cup, and again ran a stormer to finish a narrow 3rd in a 3-way photo behind Modern News. Stepped up to 1 mile 2 last time, over course and distance. He had trouble in running again, flew home late, and he just went down by a head and finished second. He's now creeped up to a slightly bigger mark of 91. Still looks workable to me. I just hope he doesn't hit traffic problems again. And if he gets a clear run, I think he's got to be in the mix around 13-2. If you wanted to play the extra places at a bigger price, one I would mention is the Andrew Borden train, Achilles, is it called? Achilles. At a much bigger price, that is around 20-1. Just thought he was one to know. Prolific winner last term, winning 3 decent events between May and July, between 7 and 10 furlongs at Newbury, Ascot and Goodwood. Rounded off last season on a career high mark of 92, finished a narrow third over course and distance behind the highly progressive Sila Rosa, who was second that day, who's obviously gone on to do bigger and better things. He then put up 2 close fourths in big fielded events at Newmarket in Doncaster, with the latter running listed company. Back this season, 4-year-old went to Epsom in April and was a next second to course specialist Soto Sizzler, who's won numerous races down there in a good Class 2 handicap. And then looking to back that up, he was a well-beaten fifth at Ayr in a listed event that was absolutely battered by Maestra, that's obviously gone on to run in a Group 1 and finished second. He's off a mark of 98, back in handicap company. Finished third over course and distance, so should handle the track, no problem. And Harry Davies actually takes off £5, which makes it really interesting. So essentially off a mark of, 93. I think at 20-1, he can run a really big race. So the feature event, lads, we're going to cover on the pod this week, obviously, is the Darley July Cup, the Group 1. 14 runners head to post for this one. And it looks a cracker to me. Currently at the top of the market, we've got Perfect Power, Frankie's favourite that he jumped off last time, round 5-2. Arturus, 4-1, over from Australia, ran well at Royal Ascot. Creative Force, looks solid, 11-2. Naval Crown, the Platinum Jubilee winner, 13-2. Flaming Rib, 9-1, and then 10-1. Bar the rest. Frankie, we'll start with you on this one. Are you gonna side with Perfect Power with this one, or are you jumping off again?
Oh, I don't know. You're essentially looking at the Commonwealth Cup versus the Platinum Jubilee Stakes, aren't you? You've got Perfect Power, the winner of the Commonwealth, and then you've got the 1, 2, and 3 in the Platinum Jubilee Stakes from Ascot. I watched both back numerous times this morning, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And this bet is not for everyone. Some people hate a bet like this, but if you play 4-1 on the Aussie Sprinter each way, I think that horse has to place and could well win. You watch that race back, was held up, and didn't really get too much of a mention, but it didn't have the smoothest of it. It wasn't like it completely got stopped in traffic, but it had to pass pretty much every single horse to come on in second. And right when it mattered, just as it was finding momentum, did have to just be weaved between horses. And I think that stopped this horse finishing quite as good as he could have that day. So I'm going to go against Perfect Power again here. I know that this is a big Aussie syndicate. They brought half of them over for Ascot, and half of them have flown back over to England for this. I think that says enough. They must fancy it. They're obviously trying to get this horse to win over here at a big meeting, and there'll be a lot of them out in force. So I'm going to go with the Aussie Arturus.
I'll tell you what, if Perfect Power does you again, I wouldn't say it'd be funny, but you'll learn your lesson, definitely. Paul, for yourself in this one?
I've gone with Frankie. I've gone with Arturus as well. For the reasons mentioned, I think tactics are going to be fascinating here. Well, Spencer, he's in stall 12. Perfect Power's in stall 8. Is Jamie going to track Christoph? Okay, I have one eye on. He'll definitely have half an eye on him anyway. Or will he just ride his own race and hope for the best? So I think tactics will be fascinating here. But I think with a clear run, I think Arturus has to be thereabouts.
So, Frankie, for your sake, I'm gonna stick with Perfect Power. I tipped him up and backed him for the Commonwealth, and he obviously went on to run really, really well. And look, I know he's the favourite in a big fielded event, but I think he is the best 6 furlong sprinter around at the moment. And that was simple enough for me. And I was looking to try and get him beat. You always want to try in a 14-runner field to try and get a favourite beat. But I think Perfect Power is solid. I really do. The way he won that Commonwealth, Christophe Soumillon gets on with him so well. And Christophe Soumillon's actually had 3 rides this season. 7 rides this season in England. Have gone on to win 3. 2 of them been on Perfect Power. The other one was on Verdeni last week in the Corridor Clips. I think that's a superb record. He's riding out his skin at the moment. They obviously get on really, really well. We know all about Perfect Power trying the 2,000 guineas didn't work. His optimum trip is 6 furlongs. I think he could go up to 7 furlongs and run well, but 6 furlongs is his dream. He stays it brilliantly. He's absolutely rapid. Yeah, I couldn't go against him. What I will just say, if I was going to have an each way little shout, and I just think Creative Force is absolutely solid around 11-2. Yeah. I think he's a solid horse. Obviously, winner on British Champions Day last year at Ascot in a 20-runner field, winning the Champion Sprint, second in the Platinum Jubilee. He very rarely runs a bad race. He's finished second in a Lennox. I just don't think he runs a bad race, really. The one bad race he's run of recent times was over in Maidan. That was his first start for a while, and I'm happy to forgive that. I think 11-2, 6-1, if you can get about him, you maybe get 4 places. Some might be offering 5, you don't know. I think if you can get 11-2, 6-1 and Creative Forcing, it's a solid each-way player. But I'm sticking with Perfect Power, and hopefully he gets the job done again. I just think he's ever so reliable at 6 furlongs. So the final event of the afternoon comes from York, and it's the listed City Wall Stakes over 5 furlong. This race could be over in a flash. Some very, very fast horses in here. At the top of the market, Winter Power is trying to land back-to-back renewals of the race. Can she do it, Paul, or are you against her?
I've gone Royal Acclaim in this one. She's she's 2 from 2. I thought she was very impressive when scoring at Bath last time out, having raced pretty keenly in the early stages. And I think Royal Acclaim, she looks potentially quite smart.
I think Royal Acclaim's a fascinating runner in this one. Getting, the £5 off Winter Power. We really don't know how good this horse could be. And I think this will be her first big test. And it's just a bit of a fascinating race to see with these two at the top of the market. But Royal Acclaim for yourself, Frankie?
No, and this is, you look at the prices and you might get teased in by Winter Power. I did last time she ran and got stung. You need a crystal ball, don't you? A sunny day at York could be the one for Winter Power, or a phone call to Tim Easterby. He might be able to tell us how well she'll run. But I'm not going to, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world if Winter Power won. But I'm just going to try and stick with a horse that's slightly more consistent at current in Katora. There's a couple of handicappers in here. Katora's been running good enough races behind good horses in listed group companies, behind Live in the Dream, who ran in the Dash, was behind Alcabayo, Flaming Rib, their group performers, and has consistently been placed or close enough in good company. So at an each way price, I think Katora for me is the one to take on Winter Power. And if Winter Power turns up and she is her best and goes and wins, well, hopefully I can pick up some place money.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Winter Power is back to her best, and I'm giving her one last chance. And if it wasn't, as you say, on a sunny day, and it wasn't at York, it wasn't on the Knowsmire, I don't think I'd touch her. But it is just simply because of her record and making this race her own last year and then going on to win the Nunthorpe in what I thought was quite emphatic fashion. I've just got to give her another go. She's been to France, Ireland, England in Group 1 since, ran no race at all. She heads back to York. She's in dire form, really. But if you look back to her run where she last won, it was in the Nunthorpe. Before that, it was this race. She's won 3 out of 4 races on the Knowsmire. I think we'll see her back to her best on Saturday. And I just think she's the type of horse where she wants one track, she wants one type of weather, she wants one type of ground, and everything has to be perfect. And I think on Saturday, she will get that. And currently around 9-4, if you can get 5-2, I think, look, you are taking a bit of a chance because she might not be the same horse, and we'll find out Saturday. But if she is anything like what she did last year in this race, I think she wins. And I hope she does for Tim Easterby sake, because what a great yardstick she has been over the last few years for Tim Easterby. So, fellas, that's it. We've gone through 11 races there. I think we've gone through in fairly quick time, to be honest, through the 11 races. All I need now to finish this week's pod is the nap of the day, please, on Saturday. And Frankie, you got the better of me last week. You had 3 wins. What a debacle of a race that was. But I had a Sharda, so you beat me. And Paul, you had the Denny last week. So you two had winning naps. I think, Frankie, we'll let you start this week. Paul went first.
Not to nap, but positive impact is definitely worth another mention of prices. If that hangs around 14, that's very interesting as an each-way bet. But I'm going to keep it straightforward. The Godolphin Blue, Victory Dance in the 2-year-olds. I think that could be a very exciting horse for the future and hopefully proves it on Saturday. So Victory Dance for me. Okay,
Victory Dance. I'll tell you what, that was in my shortlist. It was like you last week. I do have 3 or 4 horses here I could nap. So Victory Dance was in there, but now you've gone. I'll go something else. But Paul, you go first.
I'm going to go with Jimi Hendrix. Has his quirks, wears the hood, but I think the small field will suit him. Rob Hornby on board for Ralph Beckett. So Jimi Hendrix in the 240 at Newmarket.
Okay, I'm going to go in the 205 at Newmarket. I'm going to go for Kidwa. I think this filly could be much better than her mark of 88, and I hope she goes and does the business for William Haggus and Shadwell Estates. Lads, that's it. That's it for this week's show. Thanks again. Boys selections this week, 11 of them. Some we've got more in with each way picks. But please be sure to like this video, comment your selections below, see if they're any similar to our three. And also remember to subscribe to the channel with plenty of other racing content on offer. All the best this weekend, lads, and hopefully we found some winners.
Likewise, cheers.
Cheers,
Thanks.